Have you ever wondered why some people suddenly change the moment you stop being easy to control? They don't always confront you. They don't shout. Instead, they go quiet, strategic, distant. They smile, but the warmth is gone. They say nothing, but you feel the shift. It's because something in you changed, and they can't stand it. The moment you choose your peace over their comfort, the moment you stop bending to please them, they lose their grip. And when people lose control over you, they don't just walk away. They change tactics, subtle guilt, twisted words, emotional bait. You're not being punished because you did something wrong. You're being punished because you dared to choose yourself. But here's where Stoic philosophy becomes your shield. It teaches us that true power isn't found in controlling others. It's found in refusing to be controlled. This video is not about revenge. It's about clarity, about reclaiming your calm when others try to rattle you, about choosing silence when chaos demands a reaction, because once you master yourself, no one can master you. So if you felt that shift from others, the cold stares, the guilt trips, the sudden rumors, this message is for you. You are not weak. You are waking up. And now, it's time to see the tactics they use when they realize they can't control you anymore. When people realize they can't control you directly, they often turn to the oldest trick in the book, manipulation. It doesn't look aggressive. It's not obvious. In fact, it's polite. It starts with subtle comments that twist your independence into selfishness, your boundaries into cruelty. You say no to an event because you're burnt out. They respond, "I guess some people just don't care anymore." It stings, not because it's true, but because it's designed to make you question yourself. That's how manipulation works. Not by force, but by turning your empathy into a weapon against you. And if you're someone who cares deeply, who tries to be thoughtful, you become their perfect target. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for other people's comfort with your boundaries. Stoic wisdom reminds us, what matters is not what they say or do, but how you respond. They want you to feel guilty. They want you to feel like you owe them something. But the moment you realize that guilt is their tool, you stop handing them the handle. Because you don't need to explain peace. The real power lies in your silence. Not coldness, but calm. When you no longer react the way they expect, they lose their leverage. They can't shame you into compliance if you're not absorbing the shame. Stoicism isn't about detachment from humanity. It's about rising above manipulation without losing compassion. You can still care and still say no. You can still be kind and still walk away. Because the moment you stop defending yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you take back your time, your energy, and your identity. And those who truly respect you, they'll never need to manipulate you to keep you close. When someone can't control your actions, they'll often try to control how others see you. They won't challenge you directly. They know you've grown past their reach. So instead, they whisper behind your back. They twist your words. They plant seeds of doubt in the minds of those around you. It's subtle at first. Just a comment here, a shrug there. Nothing too loud, nothing obvious. But the goal is simple. Damage your credibility without ever getting their hands dirty. They know they can't manipulate you anymore, so they manipulate the narrative around you. And this is where it gets dangerous. Not because the lie is true, but because your reaction to it becomes the trap. The moment you rush to explain yourself, to fix every misunderstanding, to correct every rumor, you've already fallen into their game. You're now dancing to the rhythm they set. You think you're protecting your name, but you're actually validating their lie by giving it attention. This is where Stoic philosophy gives us strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke." You can't control what people say, but you can control what you believe is worth your energy. You are not your reputation. You are your character. Let them talk. Let them build their stories. You don't need to tear down lies when your life is the truth. Because the people who truly matter, the ones who know your spirit, your values, your consistency, they'll see through the fog. And the ones who believe the rumors without asking, they were never standing beside you to begin with. There's a kind of peace that comes when you stop chasing perception and start anchoring yourself in clarity. You no longer need to fight back. You just keep walking. Let time be your witness. Let silence be your strategy. Let results be your reply. The ones who lie about you are revealing more about themselves than they ever will about you. Because lies are loud, but character is steady. So the next time you hear something false about yourself, ask, do I need to defend this? Or is my life already answering the question? When you trust your truth more than their tactics, you step out of their control completely, and in that moment, you win. Part 5. Undermining your confidence with doubt. When control doesn't work through force or isolation, they reach for something quieter, but far more corrosive. Doubt. They don't say you're wrong. They just ask, are you sure that's the right move? Enough times, and you start to wonder if maybe you're not. They don't attack your decisions outright. Instead, they poke small holes in your certainty. A coworker who questions your every idea just to play devil's advocate. A friend who expresses concern every time you take a bold step. The pattern is subtle but consistent. They don't offer solutions, only hesitation. And that hesitation, it spreads. You start rehearsing your choices in your mind. You hear their voice echoing when you plan something new. You second-guess your instincts. That's the tactic. Because if they can make you unsure, they don't need to control you. You'll start controlling yourself in ways that make them more comfortable. Here's what Stoicism teaches. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It's the internal steadiness that says, I've thought this through. I stand by it. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. And sometimes, the reaction that matters most is no reaction at all. Just a quiet nod to yourself and forward motion. When someone tries to shake your confidence, don't defend the decision. Defend the space to decide. The more you trust yourself, the less power they hold. You don't need to convince anyone. You just need to stop waiting for their approval. Because real confidence doesn't whisper, please believe in me. It declares, I believe in myself. That's enough. Part 6. Provoking you for emotional control. When all else fails, manipulation, guilt, rumors, doubt, there's one last trick. Get you to lose control. They'll poke, prod, mock, interrupt, bring up the past at the worst possible moment, all to get a reaction. Why? Because when you explode, they win. Suddenly you're the irrational one, the angry one, the unstable one. They stay calm. You look emotional. That doesn't mean you don't feel anger. It means you don't serve it to them. You choose silence instead of snapping, stillness instead of shouting, calm instead of chaos. That's not weakness, that's power. Because when you stop giving them the reaction they crave, the game ends, the control breaks. Your emotional discipline becomes your greatest form of self-protection. It says, you may try to trigger me, but I won't hand you the detonator. You don't need to win the argument. You just need to win your peace. And nothing is more frustrating to a manipulator than someone who refuses to be rattled. Part 7. Copying you to compete with you. Sometimes when they can't control you, they try to become you. At first, it looks like admiration. They pick up your habits, use your words, take interest in the same things. But then it starts to feel off, forced, competitive, hollow. They're not learning from you. They're trying to mirror you. Why? Because if they can't grow like you, they think they can mimic you. But what they don't realize is, you're not just a collection of actions. You're a mindset, a vision, a rhythm they can't replicate. Stoics like Seneca reminded us, character, not mimicry, defines the individual. They can copy your method, but they can't touch your core. Your experience, your wisdom, your instincts. And the more you grow, the harder it becomes for them to keep up. So don't confront them. Don't call it out. Just keep evolving. Make moves they don't see coming. Speak from places they can't reach. Let them follow. But know this, They'll always be 2 steps behind something they never truly understood. Authenticity walks, imitation chases. Part 8. Waiting for you to fail. Not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. Some clap because they're counting down the seconds until you stumble. They smile, nod, offer polite encouragement, but beneath the surface, there's tension. Your success reminds them of their stagnation. Your confidence reflects their own fear. They don't want to grow with you. They want to see you fall, quietly, subtly, just enough to feel proven right. And when you hit a rough patch, they're the first to say, "I saw it coming." Not because they care, but because your struggle justifies their inaction. This is why Stoicism is crucial. It teaches you to rise for your own reasons. Epictetus said, "Don't explain yourself. Don't beg for applause. Just do the work." You don't owe them your failure to make them comfortable. You owe yourself the chance to succeed, even when no one's cheering. So let them wait. While they whisper, you work. And when your moment comes, not if, but when, their silence will speak louder than their support ever did. Closing. Your calm is louder than their chaos. When people can't control you, they reach for every tactic they can: guilt, rumors, isolation, doubt, provocation. But none of it works unless you react. And that's the power Stoicism gives you. Not detachment from life, but full ownership of your mind. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to prove your worth to those who never intended to see it. You just need to stay grounded, still, clear, because in a world where everyone's trying to be loud, stillness becomes its own kind of rebellion. You're not the problem for choosing peace. You're not cold for having boundaries. You're not arrogant for trusting your path. You are the proof that freedom still exists. So keep going. Keep choosing yourself, and let your calm become louder than their chaos. If this message found you at the right moment, let it be the one you carry forward. Like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more grounded, real-world Stoic wisdom to help you walk through the noise with your mind and your peace intact. Finish Part 2. Part 3. Weaponizing victimhood. Some people don't need to lie about you. They just need to recast themselves in the role of the victim, and suddenly, you become the villain in a story they've carefully rewritten. This tactic is subtle, but devastating. You set a boundary, and now you've hurt them. You distance yourself, and now you've abandoned them. You speak your truth, and suddenly, you're aggressive. It doesn't matter what really happened. What matters is the story they tell. And here's why it works. Because most people are wired for empathy. We instinctively side with those who seem wounded. We want to help, to protect, to comfort. The manipulator knows this. That's why they weaponize sympathy. They twist the narrative, not to seek healing, but to escape accountability. They make it seem like you're the one who acted unfairly. Meanwhile, they avoid having to answer for their own behavior. This creates a powerful illusion. They look fragile, you look cruel. They appear misunderstood, you appear heartless. And if you're not grounded, you'll start believing it. You'll feel tempted to explain yourself, to clear the air, to prove you're not as heartless as they claim. But here's the truth. The moment you start defending against a lie born from manipulation, you've already lost the frame. Stoicism offers a radical shift in response. Epictetus once said, "It's not events that disturb us, it's our interpretation of them." You can't control the roles others assign to you in their stories, but you can choose not to play along. You don't need to convince the world that you're kind. You don't need to undo their performance. You just need to live with such quiet integrity that eventually the performance collapses on its own. Because pretending to be a victim requires constant effort, but being real? That's effortless. It sustains itself. Take a step back and ask yourself, are they really hurt? Or are they performing hurt to maintain control? True pain seeks healing. False pain seeks power. So what do you do when someone flips the script on you? You pause, you breathe, and you stay grounded. You treat others with decency, even when they don't return it. You remain calm, even when you're misunderstood. And above all, you refuse to wrestle over perception, because character doesn't need an audience. It just needs consistency. And when people eventually see the truth, and they will, it will be because you chose peace over performance. You don't owe anyone your self-betrayal just to make them feel innocent, and you certainly don't owe them your silence when they distort your story. But the most powerful response is not rage, not even defense. It's quiet strength. Because that's what Stoicism is, not coldness, but clarity, not indifference, but control, and not pride, but peace. Part 4. The isolation strategy. One of the most calculated moves people make when they can't control you directly is isolation. They won't confront you outright. That would reveal their intentions. Instead, they move silently, planting doubts in the minds of those around you, twisting small facts into false impressions and letting the damage unfold without ever lifting their voice. Their goal is simple: cut you off from your support system. Because as long as you have people who see your truth, who affirm your growth, who remind you of your worth, you remain strong, you remain untouchable. So they work behind the scenes, slowly turning others away from you. A word here, a pause there, a carefully raised eyebrow when your name comes up. It's quiet, intentional, strategic. At first you don't notice, but then something changes. People stop calling. Conversations feel colder. You sense a distance you can't explain. You wonder, did I do something wrong? And that's the trap. The manipulator wants you to question your own memory, your own motives, your own character. If they can't control you externally, they'll try to destabilize you from within. But Stoicism teaches us to stand firm when the ground beneath us feels uncertain. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." In other words, if a connection only thrives when you're small, silent, or submissive, it's not a connection, it's a cage. True friends don't drift away because of whispered rumors. They ask questions, they seek clarity, they get closer, not colder. When you're being isolated, your first instinct might be to explain, to chase, to fix what feels broken. But the Stoic path says something different. Don't run after those who walk away when you grow, because the ones who disappear at the first sign of your independence, they were never rooted beside you to begin with. Let them go. Instead of defending your name, defend your energy. Instead of chasing explanations, protect your peace. The people who truly matter, the ones meant to walk with you, will either stay or find their way back. But those who fall for manipulation were never equipped to hold your truth anyway. You don't need a crowd to be grounded. You just need clarity. And from that place of clarity, you begin to rebuild. You invest in people who make you feel seen without needing to shrink. People who don't require you to explain your value, but recognize it through how you live. People who challenge you to grow, not guilt you for it. This isn't just about relationships, it's about freedom. Because emotional isolation is the oldest trick in the control playbook. But it only works if you forget who you are when others step away. So remember, the most important connection you'll ever have is with yourself. You may lose some voices around you, but if you gain your own voice back, that's not a loss, it's liberation.